of the past. Joining me now are Congressman Jim McDermott, Democrat of Washington, who voted to limit some of the surveillance under the Patriot Act, and Salon.com's Joan Walsh. Thank you both for being here.
Good to be here.
I want to get to the Patriot Act in a moment, but first, Congressman, Dick Cheney giving Republicans foreign policy advice for 2016. What could go wrong?
Everything, Al. It's the most amazing thing that this guy that led us into the worst military disaster we've ever had in this country, a 15-year endless war, is now coming back and saying, let's do more of it. It's absolutely the wrong way to go. The president has tried to get us extracted from this awful situation, and it keeps getting worse. And I really think that Cheney's advice is the one thing we should never pay attention to again. Everything he said was either wrong or deceptive. He was never telling the American people the truth. He got us into a war by feeding advice to the president that was absolutely not true.
Wrong.
Here it is again.
Wrong or deceptive, Joan? You know, the Wall Street Journal says, Joan, that Dick Cheney's group is going to be running TV and web ads ahead of 2016. And here's what he's selling. Quote, Mr. Cheney's overarching message is that the U.S. needs to assert itself more on the world stage. He wants Congress to boost military spending, and Mr. Cheney also wants the next president to increase the number of U.S. troops in Iraq. That sounds like an election message for 2004, not 2016, Joan.
Yeah, I mean, I think Democrats are scheduling some of his appearances for him. Democrats could not be happier, right? Democrats could not be happier by his emergence in this campaign. The idea that he wants to put himself in the center of this campaign, Reverend Al. The idea that he wants to hold Jeb Bush accountable and keep him from saying that what his brother did was a mistake. It's wonderful for Democrats. He was less popular. His popularity was in the 20s when he left office. It's not much better now. He's less popular than President George Bush. The idea that this man wants to make himself the face of hawkish Republican policy is great for Democrats.
And even Republicans are not unified.
Absolutely.
That he's a great vice president.
They're not unified. He's not. His approval rating was underwater with self-described conservatives when he left office. And now these policies, more troops to Iraq, war with Iran, these are not popular with the Republican base. Now, I want to say that an election that is heavy on hawkishness could pull the base, could pull the base toward some kind of action. But right now, even Republicans are skeptical about this. Even Republicans think that Dick Cheney is wrong and deceptive at the same time, and he wants to put himself in the middle of this campaign. Democrats are happy today.
Congressman McDermott, Jeb Bush was asked again this weekend about what mistakes his brother had made as president. Listen to this.
And I think I learned also from not keeping the reins on spending. I mean, because of the war and because of the focus on protecting the homeland, I think he let the Republican Congress get a little out of control in terms of the spending.
So he thinks that spending was a problem, not unnecessary wars, not Iraq, not going after weapons that were not there, weapons of mass destruction, spending. Now, how's that a foreign policy message for 2016, Congressman?
If we were to have the bad luck of having Jeb Bush, we might as well put Cheney in as his vice president and run this movie again. It is a failed movie for 15 years. And they are saying nothing new except we believe what we thought in 2001, and we haven't changed our mind one bit. We haven't learned one single thing. We are going to do it all again. Where are they going to put 10,000 troops? Lindsey Graham talks about throwing 10,000 troops into Iraq. To do what? To fight for people who won't fight for themselves? What is this about? These guys just want to keep the war machine rolling, and they have nothing new to offer the American people except more war. That's not what the American people want. That's why they went to Mr. Obama, and that's why they returned him to office, and that's why they're going to reject him again in this next election.
And all of this happens, Joan, as Rand Paul is getting hammered by members of his own party this weekend for daring to question the Patriot Act. Senator Coates accused him of, quote, lying. That's in quotes, that's what the term he used, lying about the law. Senator McCain says he shows, quote, higher priority for his fundraising and political ambitions than the security of the nation. And Senator Kirk says, I don't stand with Rand on this. If the Hawks win this debate in the GOP primary, will the Bush-Cheney foreign policy be on the ballot again in 2016?
I think it absolutely will, and I think it's hilarious the way they're attacking Rand Paul. Oh my God, a politician is a politician, and he's using his stands to get attention from voters. Like Lindsey Graham isn't doing the exact same thing, standing there in front of the flag and fear-mongering again, right, Rev? I mean, I'm not a supporter of Senator Paul, although I am on this issue, but I think what he's doing is actually kind of brilliant, because he is staking out. He's making himself stand out from that pack of 20-something guys who have been clamoring to cluster around a hawkish Bush-Cheney foreign policy. He's saying no way. His father did reasonably well with that message in in 2008. He's going to do it. He's going to do better. He's a better politician, and he's getting attention. Some of the people who've been kind of irritated with him, the libertarian folk, because he did sign that awful letter to Iran, etc., they are back in his corner now. He is really pulling back together that base.
Politically, is this a good move for him, Congressman?
Absolutely. I'm like your other guest. I don't support him for president, but in this issue, he's absolutely right. There is no evidence that collecting all this information on Americans is doing any good to make us more safe. And he's standing up for the American people's privacy and their ability to lead their lives without having the government in on everything they say on the telephone. And the American people are with him. And the others who want to say they should give total freedom to the NSA and these other organizations to round up every bit of thing that's in the air is simply not where the American people are. That is not what this country was built on, and it is not what this country is going to accept. And Rand Paul has got his finger right on the pulse.
Well, Rand Paul is certainly an interesting candidate, and we'll be watching him. And we are not going to miss much in these coming months. Congressman Jim McDermott, Joan Walsh, and let me have a rare correction for you, Joan. You are not supporting Mr. Paul. He's supporting you on this issue. You were there first.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for your time tonight.